What's up, everyone? This is episode 31 of the Sports World Podcast. My name is Nick, here with Jet, Colton, and Dylan. Today, we are recapping Super Bowl 56 between the Bengals and the Rams and talking about the NBA trade deadline. Starting with the Super Bowl, the AFC champs, the Cincinnati Bengals, traveled to LA to face against the NFC champs, the Los Angeles Rams. We all know how this one played out, but let's just start with our all-around thoughts on the game. And Jet, we'll go to you first.
Coming out the gates, it looked to me like Odell Beckham was just going to take over this game. I mean, the dude was getting open at will in the first quarter, and he scored that touchdown. And unfortunately, soon after that, he went down with that injury, and things got a little bit weird for the Rams at that point. The Rams definitely struggled a little on offense with Odell out. Their secondary receivers weren't really getting it done, and the momentum started to shift at that point. The Bengals, they got T. Higgins going. T. Higgins had, that touchdown before half, and then obviously that controversial one right after the half where he grabbed freaking Jalen Ramsey's face mask. And then after that, second half, it was kind of the Cooper Kupp show, man. He was just getting open in double coverage, and the Rams realized that the only way they were going to come back and win the game was, just feeding their best player, and that's kind of what they did.
Yeah. About that 75-yard touchdown in the second half. Watching that live, you couldn't see the actual face mask, but you could see Ramsey go flying down the field, and you knew it was not legal.
Yep.
So, yeah, like you said at the end, they just kept feeding Cooper Kupp, and that's ultimately what you had to do the whole game. They didn't, but they started doing it right on time. Colin,
sure.
Dylan, what are your guys' thoughts?
The Bengals O-line is bad, man. It's so bad. That was a game.
Should have drafted Jamar Chase.
Honestly, they were in a position to win, but they didn't because of their O-line. And I'm not saying because they don't get there without Jamar. I'll make that very clear.
Yeah,
they need Jamar, but it's apparent that if they want to. It's going to be hard. The AFC is miles better conference. If they want to get back to this game, they need to adjust that O-line because you have the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos, if they get a quarterback. Like, you have teams in the AFC that are probably better than the Bengals on paper. Bengals made a run this year, but until they get a good offensive line, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to finish a run.
I mean, we should talk about that, though, because that's like a big discussion outside of the Super Bowl. So, like, is there any basis to the argument that they would have been better off without Jamar and having Penei Sewell? There's no way, right?
It's so stupid.
On the last play regulation, then yes. Otherwise, no.
Yeah, it's one of the weirdest takes I've ever seen. I don't understand why people think that's a legitimate thing.
When that draft happened, my mindset was receivers come and go every single year. There's always multiple really good receivers that you can just go in any year. But the O-line, that's a lot more rare. I thought they should have taken O-line. But, I mean, Jamar Chase proved me wrong this season, as we saw. He had not one of the best rookie seasons. Not one of the best rookie seasons, but one of the best seasons all around.
Because everyone's saying, they could have taken Sewell. They could have taken Creed Humphrey next round. They could have taken Chase Smith in the 5th or 6th round. It wasn't just a matter of Jamar. They could have gone 2 all-pro caliber offensive linemen in that draft, and they didn't. They drafted Jackson Carman, who, coming out of college, don't get me wrong, was a good prospect. I was high on him. I'm not even going to lie. They missed. They simply missed. That happens in the NFL. You miss. And they missed pretty badly not getting those 2 guys, and it came back to bite them. However, the impact of that first-round pick did so much for that franchise, more than offensive line would have done. So I don't know why people are hating on the pick, because you can't make a better pick. That was the best pick in the entire first round for me.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest here. No matter what they did in that draft, nobody thought they were going to be a Super Bowl team. That was not a thing that was supposed to happen. Like this
is a team coming off multiple less than 5-win seasons with a quarterback with a torn ACL.
Whether they drafted Sewell, Chase, or anyone else, I was not giving them more than 6 wins in my record prediction. And
no one did.
They proved us all wrong.
No one in the world did. Outside of little Cincinnati, Ohio, I don't think anyone in the world thought they were contenders. I think most people had them as the 4th place team in the North, which is one of the better divisions in football.
Yeah, the discussion on whether their first round pick won them or lost them. A lot of things
went right for the Bengals this year. The Lamar injury, the Big Ben regression, the Browns just absolute collapse. The Browns have, in my eyes, the Browns are probably the best roster team in football outside of quarterback. and I'll die on that hill. And they just collapsed. Those 3 teams all collapsed, causing them to get in. They won. They had a major Chiefs collapse in the playoffs. They got matched up with a good Vegas team, got a couple calls in that game. I don't know how they beat Tennessee. This wasn't I'm not saying it's luck, but like a lot of things fell in their favor to get them to where they are at. I think that's not talked about enough. A lot of things had to go right for them to get there, and it did for them. And that's how that happens sometimes, but I don't know if that's as impressive run as like people are saying it is.
Oh yeah, I don't think any of us will deny the talent that they do have. To make that clear, I mean the talent is there with Chase, Mixon. The defense stepped up. Burrow's obviously a great quarterback at such a young age, but there was a lot of luck involved, and we don't know if that luck will continue or not. All right, Dylan, any thoughts on the game?
That Stafford has a ring. Michelle has a second ring. Floyd has a ring. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if we talked about it, but like the last play with the fact they don't have Mixon out there is insane.
Oh my God.
And I guess
the third
meme,
down.
Yeah, and the meme of the O-line, or what is it? Burrow with an O-line to Chase, the ball falls, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The last play of the game, that's when it came true. Because Chase was wide open. If you got like an extra 2 seconds?
That's a touchdown, man. That wins you a Super Bowl.
Can you imagine
40 seconds
imagine
left?
that play?
But then you got to think, if they don't have Chase, no one's open on the play.
Yeah, probably.
Say, right. If they had an O-line, then Chase would have scored. If they had an O-line, Chase wouldn't be on the roster. Like,
well, then again, but back to what you said, if they took second round, third round picks, smart. If they took Humphrey, they took Smith, they could have had no line, and then they still could have Chase. So.
That was just outside of the first round. It was a bad draft, straight up.
I do feel for the Bengals, though. It sucks that Burrow did get his chance. He had a legitimate chance to go tie that game or win it. For it to end like that was such a gutsy stop from the Rams, dude.
That's how legacies are made. And I mean, everyone's like, Burrow's a winner. Winners drive down the field and score on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also have to account for the fact that they weren't supposed to be there. So it's a little bit weird. Like, you got to cut Burrow some slack, but once he got to that point, it's tough.
It's like, I think they missed out because I don't think with how good the AFC is, they're going to get back there.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
All this Burrow's a top 3 quarterback talk is so stupid.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Putting him above Herbert?
I'm already ready to put him above Lamar as a Ravens fan. I think that's obvious. But this top 3 talk, like above Mahomes, above Allen, it's just so stupid. No, he's not. He's not better than those guys.
Yeah,
I love Burrow. I'm one of Burrow's biggest fans, but it's all recency bias.
Yeah, you have to be realistic.
Yeah, it happens every year.
100% recency.
Happens every single year.
I mean,
that's
like, think about it. Stafford's the one that won the damn game, and I'm seeing no Stafford hype.
For real.
Stafford won the Super Bowl. He led a game-winning drive without Odell, without Robert Woods, and he's getting no type of love. And I'm like, he just did this with one guy, and it was without Tyler Higbee too. He's missing Higbee, Woods, and OBJ, and he just did that, and everyone's like, cool.
We saw exactly. We saw Brady losing the wild card with New England, and everyone was already dropping him off. Like, he's not top 10 anymore. He's washed. And then he goes to win Super Bowl, and he's number 1 everywhere. He
beat Tom Brady, a ridiculous Niners team, and the team the entire world was rooting for, and no one batted an eye. The amount of Stafford disrespect is insane.
It's because he's been disrespected his entire career, mostly because he played in Detroit.
His first year out, he wins a ring. Like, he is so talented. He got
Speaking
out of
Detroit.
The Lions are probably the worst franchise in sports, to be honest with you. And he won a ring. Like, he's so talented, and it's just like, whatever. Rodgers lost, Mahomes lost, Allen lost. Stafford's the one that won it.
I was just showing Jet. I got a new Lions hat for some reason. I was about to pull it out.
Lions hat?
Pull it out.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. You'll see.
Where is it? Oh God.
He's gonna go get it.
Yeah.
$5, guys. $5.
That's what $5 buys you.
That's a nice hat.
I don't think I'll spend $5 on that.
It's a nice hat. All right. Let's see. One thing I want to talk to you guys about, like I mentioned earlier, was that 4th and 1 decision to go for it. 5 minutes into the game at midfield, the Bengals did not convert. This is the Super Bowl, biggest game of all their lives. You have to take chances. You have to be aggressive, but there is a line to that aggressiveness that you do not cross. And do you guys think that this decision to go for it was crossing that line or not?
I don't think so.
It was going to be hard to score. You got to take any chance you can get.
Yeah, especially against a Red defense. Dude.
What yard line were they at? I forgot.
You said
it was like 50.
It was close to me. Yeah.
No, I go for that every time.
I looked over at Joe and I was like, they should go for it. Like, I mean,
it was a bad play design, but the general call made sense.
Yeah, I think the call to go for it. Like,
I love the call. I'm seeing a lot of hate for it. I don't like it
for that call. What?
I've seen a lot of hate.
As
Joe Burrow.
As a Charger fan that watched us go for the more ridiculous fourth downs than any other team in the league, when you have guys this talented, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're having
Joe Burrow.
If you have a quarterback like Burrow, Herbert, Rodgers, Mahomes, let them do their thing. These guys are generational talents, and it's like 4th and 1. We're gonna put them a little yardage back. Bro, give your generational quarterback a chance to get you a couple of yards. It's so
you forgot a quarterback in that list, by the way.
Oh, Lamar.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Lamar.
I
mean, it's one of the best 4th and 1 options out there. Just say it.
Fair.
Yeah, but like
I know the Big Ben.
Obviously, Lamar has his legs, but Burrow is able to run for that 1 yard too. We saw that later in the game. I think it was like a 3rd and 5 or whatever. He just ran up right field, and yeah, I don't know. When you have Burrow, who can not only throw
15 quarterbacks, I trust to get me 1 yard like that.
Burrow, who can not only throw but can run for it, and you give him Mixon, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Zoma, whatever you pronounce his name. There's no reason not to go for that, honestly. But it's just one of those calls that when you get it, everyone loves it. When you don't get it, everyone hates it.
I think there was someone open in the flat that he missed. Forgot exactly, but he went like a pass like directly forward like 5 yards instead of like to the side. I think he would have had first down.
Was that the slant over the middle?
I think it was like a curl.
I think it was a curl, yeah.
T?
Well, I know that Ernest Jones knocked it down. That's all I remember.
It looked like he forced it, honestly. He had a lot of time to throw on that, I believe. I can't remember exactly, but he wasn't.
He had enough to
make. He could have waited another second. But I mean, he's the NFL quarterback. I'm not, so maybe he saw something I didn't.
Going forward, we're going to be seeing a lot more people transition to going for it on 4th down like that.
Oh yeah. All right.
Definitely.
Cooper Kupp was named Super Bowl MVP with 8 receptions, 99 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cole, and your thumbs are down. Why is that?
Donald was the most dominant player on that team in that game. He won the game for them on that 4th down. That's the MVP in my eyes. They don't win that game without Donald putting that much pressure, drawing other linemen in and letting other guys – because they had a middle linebacker get a couple of sacks because Donald was drawing double teams. Donald creates so much of that team that's the MVP. The most valuable piece on a team is someone like that draws multiple defenders and creates lanes for everyone else. And not only that, creates his own types of plays, getting through double teams. Nothing is more valuable than that. I get Kupp had an insane game. And, I mean, they probably don't win without Kupp either. But what Donald did for that defense was way beyond valuable.
Well said. I need to rename MVP. It's never the most valuable. It's just like
whatever offensive
best stats. Yeah. 2 touchdowns, so he automatically wins. That's all it is. It's stupid. Yeah, like you said, they don't win with either of those guys. So that's a good point. Good job addressing that. But Jet, Dylan, what are your thoughts on Cooper Kupp winning this award?
I mean, I agree with Colton. I understand like the defensive impact from Aaron Donald, and I would probably say he might have deserved it. But I mean, at the same time, it's like I said earlier, like the Rams' offense was nothing without Cooper Kupp in that game because Odell going down early that killed them, and Cooper Kupp was obviously able to still do what he did. I mean, that's just impressive as hell.
Yeah. Dylan, got anything to add?
I think he deserves it, obviously, but I mean, I understand Colton's point about Donald for sure. I do need to rename it, though. I feel like, I mean, it's always offense.
Well, I don't know why they don't have an offensive and a defensive.
Yeah, they should do that.
Yeah,
like, I mean, there's always going to be someone on both sides of the ball like balling out.
Because they had that for the Orange Bowl, I think. This is obviously different, but they had an offensive and defensive MVP. They had
It's like, why not? Yeah.
That final play.
That avoids situations where people don't get the respect they deserve just because they're a defensive player. So they
and not even that.
They put up 100 yards. So they don't
get defensive recognition. Doing that. He plays the least recognized position on defense, and he was doing that.
Yeah.
That final play, I watched that back like 50 times, just only focusing on Donald. That is so awesome to watch. He just throws the guy out of the way. He's in there in a second, and Burrow has no time. That's just the great players make great plays like that. And Aaron Donald is certainly one of the greatest of all time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying about Burrow. It's like that's how you build legacies. Donald's legacy is done. Aaron Donald, he's the greatest defensive tackle of all time. He's the greatest defensive lineman of all time. LT is a linebacker, so that's why I'm saying.
And for him to put the finishing touches on that game, that's just solidifies that.
About him retiring, I mean, he could retire right now, and he has the best career of any defensive player of all time.
He's only 30 years old.
30, and he did what? He's unbelievable. I don't think people process the greatness that's literally in front of us. The same thing with like Mahomes, Rodgers. It's like this era of NFL is so ridiculously talented.
We should make an all-time team.
An all-time.
That'd be pretty sick.
Post idea.
That'd be pretty sick.
Players.
That would be pretty sick.
All
right.
Devontae Adams is probably one of the best receivers of all time, dude. How talented he is.
Who?
Yeah, maybe.
Devontae
Adams.
Straight off pure talent, Devontae is probably one of the most talented receivers of all time.
All right, he wouldn't go in the all-time lineup though.
No, but I'm saying like his talent-wise, he's up there.
It's pretty good.
He's not athletic. He's not as athletic as
like
Moss and Jerry, but like
Megatron
dominates.
All right, one question before we move on. Of course, you guys add comments as well. But if some of their key pieces like Aaron Donald and Odell return, will the Rams repeat?
I think it's a matter of Brady and Rodgers and whether they're in the NFC or not.
Well, Brady's not.
Well, Brady's gonna come back.
I'm not sold on Brady retiring.
Stop it, bro.
I'm not.
Stop it.
Even then, I really don't think that there's a team better than the Rams in the NFC.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I think I agree. I would probably have the Rams my favorite to get back if they return everybody, because like I know, didn't McVay like tell him to run it back and he said or something like that.
It was like run it back, and Donald's like, let's run it back.
Yeah, I mean they could be nasty again.
Like obviously, I mean, like I said, like the NFC it's not as good as the AFC, but like I think the biggest comp is in their own division with the Niners.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's the NFC Championship again next year.
The Rams' future, dude. I'm worried about it. They were so built to win this year and just be good for maybe the next 2 or 3 years at maybe.
I mean, I think
their future.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I like Lance. It just depends how you view Lance. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, I forgot about that. It's not Jimmy anymore.
But even then, I mean, right now my early pick for offensive player of the year next year is Debo.
Debo?
I think Debo is probably the most athletic person in the league. He's such a gadget.
Yeah, he does it all. Yeah.
He's gonna put up 2,000 yards of scrimmage, 10 scores next year.
Yeah. You just gotta stay healthy. It's tough to stay healthy in that role, dude.
Yeah.
I think you definitely do it though.
All right. Any other comments before we move on to the NBA trade deadline?
Vernon Hargraves and Eli Apple both suck.
I tweeted this. Corner is the hardest position in football, and I'll die by that.
Easily.
Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in football, and Jalen Ramsey got torched.
Well,
it is the hardest thing you can do.
They're at such a disadvantage.
The team on this stretch, but
they're going against the best athletes in the world, and the offense always has the advantage because they know what they're doing.
And people are so quick to write off corners, and I'm just like, bro, give them a chance. It's harder than anyone else on the field.
But then again, it's Eli Apple. So.
Yeah, he sucks. We're agreeing on that. All the
he said
calling him out on Twitter after is so funny, dude.
The whole league calling him out on Twitter.
Everybody, people that don't watch football.
The Ravens chimed in. I don't know why, because they did absolutely nothing against the Bengals this year.
Did Marcus Peters say something?
No, I think it was Lamar in Hollywood.
Yeah, dude knows.
Oh yeah, Hollywood. Lamar posted that.
The Ravens lost by a combined 80 points to the Bengals this year. They cannot be talking. So stupid.
Yeah, but he got burned.
Did you see that rumor?
The biggest sports stage in the world. Well, not in the world, but in America.
Right.
What did you say, Dylan?
Did you see that rumor about how Hollywood's going to retire to play video games?
I thought it was real when I first saw it. I was
That's
like,
funny.
This can't be. It's like
I don't know who told me that. Dude, I think Mike told me that, and I was just like, bro, what?
I was about to be pretty upset, not gonna lie. Dude, we drafted him in the first round over DK and all those great receivers. And he retires to be a streamer. And oh my God, bro. All right. Moving on to our second of two segments. The NBA trade deadline was February 10th. I can't speak for everyone, but in my personal opinion, they did not disappoint.
Nope.
Obviously, we'll get to trades involving James Harden and those big names. But I do want to start just in the West with a few smaller ones that were kind of teams rebuilding, trading for stars that can help speed up that process. The first one, Sacramento Kings trading for Domantas Sabonis. They gave up Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson to the Pacers. And Jet, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it seemed like everybody's reaction to that trade was just instantly that the Kings won that trade lose that trade, because they gave up Tyrese. And I think that's an overrated take, to be honest. I think with their backcourt with De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton, they have De'Aaron Fox on a supermax, and they both are ball dominant guards. I think they kind of had to break it up. And I think getting Sabonis back in return was a great deal. I mean, Sabonis is he's cemented as an all-star. Like, he's an all-star caliber player when he's healthy in this league. And, I don't think the return is that bad. I think the Kings did a good job. But I mean, if you're the Pacers, it's a little bit weird to me, because they're kind of creating that same type of problem, like the Fox and Halliburton problem, because they now have Malcolm Brogdon and Tyrese Halliburton. I think that's a little bit weird of backcourt, but I'm sure they have plans to figure that out. I'm sure they might even move on from Brogdon in the offseason, but we'll see on that. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch much basketball as much as I would like this year. It's kind of unfortunate, but you're just making scores every single night. It's always D. Sabonis, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists every single night. It's that same person for the Pacers, and now it's going to be the same person for the Kings. I think both teams might win this. We'll see in the future. It depends how the Pacers, go with their rebuilding. But for now, I got the Kings winning this trade, and I didn't understand why everyone was slipping out.
Yeah, it's weird. Domantas is so good. You can go ahead, Dylan. What you got on this one?
Well, I'm high on Halliburton, but I don't think as high as like the people that are going crazy about it are. I think it should be a win-win, just based on the fact that if the Pacers can figure out what they're going to do with the backcourt. But I mean, having Halliburton and Duarte it's two good players on the wing. Or if you want to put Halliburton as a point guard, shooting guard, combo guard, whatever, that's still two good players. So I mean, they got to get more. But and then for the Kings, Fox and Sabonis, and that's about it. But
the Pacers are high on Halliburton. They're saying they can build around him for the next 10 years. I was like, bro, what? Like, he's good, but
I don't think he's that type of player.
Let's calm down.
I don't think he's too far from his ceiling. I feel like he was heading to the draft a safe prospect, high floor, whatever, that whole thing. And I think I don't know what he's averaging since he's been traded, but there's been multiple games he had like over 20 and 7 rebounds, 5 assists. I think that's at his peak. I don't think that's enough to warrant building around him for, as you said, for the next decade.
All right, Colin, do you want to add anything or move on to the next trade?
Super balanced trade. Each team's getting a young star they can help build around. I like Sabonis. I think Sabonis is, like Jed said, he's a proven star. I think it's showing the Kings care. They want to win. What he said about breaking up the backcourt of Fox and Halliburton, I think that was a really smart move. I like Fox. Obviously, he's the fastest player in the league. Him and Sabonis could be deadly. They can get a big there. They have a nice little trio there. Halliburton developing with the Pacers. That's going to be another story. That's going to be something to keep your eyes on. I like him a lot. I'm actually really high on him, just because I've watched more basketball this year than I ever have. And he looks good. Like, he is a solid player. I think it's a move for both teams that they kind of need to do. They've obviously been struggling, and it's a league where a lot of teams make the playoffs. You kind of just got to figure some stuff out and make trades to make it happen.
If you don't make the playoffs in this league, you are not a good team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something's going wrong, and you got to
try to make it. It's not working, then trade. And what I've seen this year, people get traded more in the NBA than any other league, and it trips me out because I see guys I'm just like, why do you trade these people? Like, I'm not used to it.
You can be 6 games under 500, and you're 1 win away from being the 7th seed. It's so stupid,
bro. It's such a weird league.
All right.
For Sacramento, who hasn't made the playoffs in however long. They
a long time.
It's the boogie days.
Long time.
They haven't made it since like Chris Webber. Maybe
there was a common theme in Indiana this trade deadline, and that was to rebuild. They also traded Karis LeVert to the Cavaliers. In my opinion, this is a super underrated trade that not many people are talking about. I think the Cavs got a huge dub here, especially because they're already exceeding expectations. Now they're taking it to another level to where they can potentially be legit contenders in this league. But what are you guys' thoughts on that?
This changes everything. Like the Cavs were already, to me, were a contender, like you said, but Darius Garland and Karis LeVert is a nasty backcourt. Like, because they've obviously cracked the code for whatever reason defensively. They have their little 3 center lineup that they bring out there. Like they've cracked the code on how to play great defense in the NBA. And adding Karis LeVert, I mean, they'll probably take a small step back defensively as a team, but his scoring is going to be incredible for them. I think it's a huge trade for them.
Definitely. I love that deal. I'm excited to watch this Cavs team. It's pretty awesome how the Cavs are like top 3 in the East, top 4 in the East, and the Lakers are struggling to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's a hot take to say that the Cavs are legitimately a contender in this league right now.
It's not at all. It's just they're new. They weren't in the playoffs last year. Now they're good.
Yeah.
They're not used to it.
Yeah, like, they're not the Sixers. They're not the Nets. And
yeah.
It's just something new.
I mean, times change, and it always takes that team proving everyone wrong to make them finally believe that they are contenders. But yeah. Other thoughts on this trade?
Scheme, man. Put the defensive skyscrapers out there. One of the best defensive teams. You have the guards that'll get it done. It's a nice little scheme they got going there. It's gonna be hard to defend.
Yeah, like what do you do if you play the 3 in the NBA? You're like 6'5", and your matchup is a 6'10" Dean Wade.
Like,
what do you even do?
Toronto having to match up with them that plays one of the smallest lineups in the league. How are you going to go against that? It's going to be like, if they can get a good matchup, it's going to be hard to go against like those amount of bigs and then guards as talented as them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of the Rockets a few years ago where PJ Tucker was playing center. And if they had a decently bad shooting night, then they were screwed.
Oh, KD's grandma just died.
I saw that. That was reported like half an hour ago. That's tough.
Dang.
Dylan, you got anything here?
I feel like that's a hard way to follow that up after what Cole said.
My bad. I just saw it and I was like, oh.
But no, I mean, I like the move for Cleveland, obviously. Cleveland is doing what Atlanta should be doing this year, which is being good. After, they're doing what Atlanta did last year and still should be doing, which is ascending in the standings. But no, I like Cleveland a lot. I like Garland. I think they have something there. If they get a top like 3 seed and they can play one of like the play-in teams, as like if it's not Boston, because Boston's hot right now. Like if they, I don't know, they're tough they're a tough matchup for any team basically, and it's exciting just because it's not. Cleveland without LeBron has not been relevant since I don't even know.
Forever. Since like the 90s.
Right.
They're still missing.
Sexton's out for the year.
Who?
I thought I was talking with Jed. There's a chance Sexton could come back for playoffs.
Yeah, right. Dylan, do you know about that? I know he had the surgery for his meniscus. I don't know if there's a chance he plays. Colin Sexton.
Oh.
Because I know his injury was considered season-ending, but I don't know if he has a chance for the playoffs. Because I know the time window on that injury is weird.
Sexton can come back.
Nick, I knew you were going to say.
How do you manage that if you have both of them? I feel like Sexton comes off the bench if he's back.
Oh yeah, because he'll be
absolutely.
He'll be on
absolutely.
Even
if he wasn't,
that bench is better too.
12 to 14 minutes a game, maybe with that.
Dean Wade's actually like turned himself
into a
quality rotational player.
Yep.
D Wade's cool. The GOAT.
K Love putting in work, man.
Best D Wade out there.
Respect him.
The best white D Wade, yeah.
Oh my
god.
What about Cedi Osman? He's still there, right?
Chetty's good. No, he's good.
Yeah.
This is a little scorer off the bench.
I remember making fun of that guy when he was like his first year.
Weird player to make
so funny. Well, he was starting in the finals, and I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Like a rookie And it was Cedi Osman getting carried by LeBron starting in the NBA Finals. I was like, what is happening? That was a weird year.
Poor Cedi.
But all right. And Cedi. I keep saying Cedi.
No.
All right. Colton has to leave pretty soon. So we're going to get right to the biggest trade of the deadline. And that, of course, is the Sixers trading away Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond to the Brooklyn Nets in return for James Harden and Paul Millsap. Thoughts on this trade? A lot to talk about.
Well, I think to start, I think it's a good deal for both sides because, obviously if you're the Sixers, you do this trade 10 out of 10 times just because obviously you want to get Harden at all costs. And, because of how insane of an upgrade that is, being able to pair him with Joel Embiid. But if you're asking me to pick a winner of this trade, I think it's Brooklyn just because, you have James Harden who's begging to get out of there. And you flip him for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 firsts. Like let's not forget, if they don't make a trade here, Harden probably wasn't going to play for them for the rest of the season, and he would have opted out of his contract in the summer and became a free agent. Like that's probably what would have happened here. And so for the Nets to get that big of a package for him, I think that's massive for them. And like their title chances go way up compared to not having Harden for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. If I'm a Sixers fan, they gave up a lot of depth. They gave up
it's
part of their future. Obviously, you had to get rid of Mr. Ben Simmons, but I don't know if they should have given up the rest of the things they gave up.
I think for Brooklyn, outside of getting Simmons, they won like with the 2 firsts and a guy like Seth Curry who's an amazing shooter. That helps them out a ton. Seth Curry is like one of the best role players you could get right now, and I mean, getting a guy like that with a guy like Simmons who people hate on, but Simmons is still one of the most talented guys in the league and could easily be a game changer. And that's not being talked about enough how talented he actually is. But you're getting a guy like Curry, who's an amazing role player, and 2 first-round picks that if you don't want to spend, you could easily trade for another piece later. Like they got so much out of it, and all they gave up was a guy that didn't want to play for them.
Yeah, people hate on Simmons, and I understand why. But in that Eastern Conference semifinals against the Hawks, he shot like 8 for 8. Like it wasn't like he was shooting shots and missing them and then gave up. He was super efficient when he did try to score.
The problem was he didn't shoot for like games 4 through 7.
If you have a point guard, you want him taking more than 8 shots in 7 games. But at the same time, I mean, his defense is insanely valuable. He's a great passer. He's a great playmaker. He's a great player. He was an all-star last year.
That's the thing. That's the thing about Brooklyn. I mean, his situation in Brooklyn is completely different. I mean, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are going to dominate the usage for this team. Like he doesn't have to shoot. Be that guy. Yeah,
he doesn't have to shoot. He's gonna be a great fit.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think another part of the newly constructed Nets team is that Kyrie, great shooter, KD, great shooter. Now they have Joe Harris and Seth Curry on space the floor. And then obviously Claxton, who's not a good shooter, but he's just went to Georgia, so I had to mention him. What other shooters do they? I mean, Bruce Brown's obviously he's a 6'4" power forward. He does everything.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of depth there, but there's a lot more now after this trade than there was before.
Yeah,
obviously,
100%.
The lineup they've been putting out without their big 3 have been so bad. But now they have guys that can take over like that. I mean, they still have Patty Mills as another role player with long.
That's the guy I forgot.
Cam Thomas as well.
Mills,
another 40% 3-point shooter. Like the 3-point shooting on the team is insane.
Outside of the 3-point contest,
you are insane.
Got a lot better.
Yeah, you can't forget Cam Thomas on that team too. He's a ridiculously talented scorer. I think his ceiling is through the roof. And then another thing, I think I've mentioned this to Colton before, but like an underrated aspect of this trade is how much better Brooklyn's on-ball defense gets, because I think Seth Curry is a super underrated defender, and just the difference in being able to have him go guard point guards for them versus like their backcourt of having to choose either Kyrie Irving or James Harden to go do it. I think that's a huge difference, and nobody's talking about that with this trade.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this trade before we move on?
Well, we should talk about the Sixers because I mean we didn't really like.
Oh yeah.
Sixers got worse in my opinion. Because now they're putting out.
But then it's James Harden. It's generational talent. It's a little bit weird.
I don't know if they got worse.
I think we need to see if they got worse, because James Harden and Joel Embiid could be so good together that it won't even matter. Like you never know.
The potential problem is the ball dominance aspect between both of them not being able to split like touches.
Yeah, poor Tobias Harris. He's not touching
Maxey,
the ball.
I love Maxey. This is gonna kill Maxey's development.
Oh yeah, Maxey too. Like they're
so
Tobias
good.
and Maxey are such talented scorers. They're
And
just
then
not going to get the ball.
Matisse, Thibault. They got him. So I mean that's probably their 5, right? Matisse, Maxey, Harden, Tobias, and Embiid.
Probably. Yeah.
5.
It depends on who they prefer to start at the wing, but yeah, they should go with Matisse. I think he's their best defender.
Now they lost Seth. Matisse probably gonna have to guard the best, or as he's done, he's gonna have to guard the best.
There he has, yeah.
I mean, he can be that role. I mean, Matisse
he's a good defender.
Yeah, that's why he's great. I mean, they lost Seth, who was a good defender, but Matisse could step up and really take that like defender, like main guy role.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the pick and roll between Harden and Embiid should be insane, but then again, Embiid, he can do ISO. Harden can do ISO. I don't know how much pick and roll action will happen just because both of them are such talented with the ball in their hands to begin.
Well, Harden has also taken a step forward as a distributor recently too. Like I think he'll still find ways to get the other guys involved as well. But I think they'll be good. We'll see.
I think he's just glad to be out of Brooklyn, but at the same time, in a few months, he'll probably be glad to be out of Philly. So I mean, we'll see what happens.
He ends up opting out of his contract at the end of the year.
It's an every year thing at this point. We saw it in OKC, Houston, Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's done so much. I think it's kind of just over it. He wants to go somewhere he can get a ring so he can finally like complete his legacy.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell's not going to play tonight.
You're late.
You're late. You're a little late, Dylan.
Oh, you already posted it? Oh, okay.
No, we talked about it.
I talked about it.
When? What?
Before you joined.
Were you not here? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways. Yeah.
And your thoughts? Yeah. I agree. I think it's win on both sides.
Oh, I think one more thing, just real quick. The Drummond upgrade is also huge too. The Nets have been starting Andre Drummond at the 5, and that's already looked like an upgrade for them as well. Like LaMarcus Aldridge isn't a guy who's going to go play 30 minutes of center for them, and even though he's been their most talented guy, so I think that's an upgrade to having Drummond out there.
And Drummond and Griffin were stuck in Detroit together. They got a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a weird year. I thought that court was going to dominate, but no, it's Detroit. So, all right, moving on. The Trailblazers made it. Oh, all right. Peace out.
I'm the best player in the NBA.
All right, moving on. The Portland Trailblazers made a few moves on this deadline. Not good ones, but they made a few moves.
The first one being.
We should have Colton stay along for this one.
Yeah, but he's out. The first one being trading CJ McCollum to the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't like this, but I'll let you guys talk about this as well. So go ahead.
The package
they had to do it, though.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I mean, they got what? They got Josh Hart, who they ended up retrading, and then I forgot what else they got. I mean, they had to do it. They had to break up the Lillard McCollum backcourt at some point, and they decided this was the time. But the return, they could have gotten more. And McCollum helps New Orleans a lot, especially without Zion. That the way he helps New Orleans, and in comparison or comparatively to the return the Portland guy back, it's not amazing. But I mean, as far as New Orleans, I mean, you guys can touch on it and chime in, but New Orleans gets Ingram some security because Ingram's been having to create by himself pretty much the whole year because obviously Zion doesn't have.
It's not playing.
He doesn't have the. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But that helps Ingram because now he has CJ as someone who can take the ball when he's when he's cold or when he's in foul trouble, that kind of thing, and that is immensely helpful for a team who's already starting to show signs of life on offense. And now adding CJ, I think his first 5 games were averaging 25 points or something like that, which is a huge boost. So.
Yeah, I saw that. So when I saw this trade, I was originally like, okay, people aren't gonna like this, but good for NAW. He's gonna go have a chance to be a huge piece for a new team that's rebuilding, and then they do it. So I don't know what to think. I think the return is horrible if you take out NAW from it. I don't get what the Blazers think they're doing with this rebuild. Well, we'll touch on it later when we talk about more of the Blazers trades, but. I do kind of see what the Blazers are doing, but it's just weird. It's not a good look getting rid of something it's weird. Not at all.
They had to blow it up they had to trade CJ, Powell, Covington, and wish they traded Nurkic. They didn't, but I think they should have. They had to trade everyone but Dame and Anthony Simons. The problem was I don't think they got what they could have and should have gotten in return for these guys. So, like, are you rebuilding or are you?
Here's what I guess I'll just get into this now. Here's what I think the Blazers are doing. I think they're trying to set up for a speed rebuild. I think they want pieces that are NBA ready guys. I think they don't really want to mess with NAW. I think they only had NAW in that trade just as a value piece to later trade for something else, which ended up being Joe Ingles or whatever. But I think they're trying to get NBA ready guys surrounding Lillard, and I guess Nurkic is part of that. And I think they want to do something crazy in the offseason to try to set up for a title run.
The problem is they don't realize they're Portland. Nobody's coming. No big names are coming here when the Clippers are offering you a max deal. The Lakers are offering you a max deal. The Bucks are offering you a max deal. Nobody's coming to Portland.
So they're
not getting these guys.
I guess they're just confident that they'll get a couple guys on board to like for the help Dame do something narrative or something like that. But
the only way they're going to contend is if they trade for these guys, and they didn't do that. They traded all their pieces except Dame and Simons.
That's what I'm saying.
For
the only way I can
explain
explain these trades is if they do go on to make those trades and moves in the offseason. So I guess we'll just see if that ends up being the plan that works.
And the issue with the whole surround Dame with pieces thing, they traded Powell and Covington, who are both good players for.
They had to. They had to.
Justice
Winslow, they're trying to mix it up. Though.
And the problem is that you traded Trent for Powell, and then you trade Powell for nothing.
A bag of chips.
You traded for Keon Johnson, basically. That's horrible, absolutely horrible.
Wait, they held on to Bledsoe, right? Because I know they got Bledsoe in that trade. They still have him, right?
So.
Which makes no sense. Well, what is Bledsoe going to do for you?
Yeah, they just think he's going to be a piece that's
just some type of roster filler.
So I have two more Blazers trades listed next. Let's get to them so we can just keep adding on. The Trailblazers then traded Norman Powell and Robert Covington to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson. What this does is obvious. It makes your team worse, but it clears up cap space, of course. Yep, exactly. Which, again, they're going to try to sign a big name. Like I said, that's not going to happen. Of course, you can trade for a big name, but we'll see.
They're going to try. That's what they're trying to do.
Another trade for a big name, though. That's what I don't think they're like stuck in between because they can't attract big free agents and they don't have enough firepower to get a big free agent or a big player.
It'll be draft pick loaded.
Their third trade was sending previously acquired, I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, Nickel Alexander-Walker to the Jazz for Joe Ingles, who's like 50 and injured. He'll be done. That just clears up more cap space because he'll probably retire or just sign elsewhere.
It's a cap space.
Or he'll go back to Utah maybe.
So what they did was trade everything except Dame and Simons for not much. But they still have Winslow. They have Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, and it's a weird team.
I mean, maybe they do a package with a bunch of those first that they just got and Simons in something crazy.
Oh, I don't like that.
I think that's what they might do though, because they're not going to think that it's a priority to have Dame and Simons on the roster. Maybe that's what they're loading up to do. Like we're gonna see. I think they're gonna put together a crazy package and acquire somebody substantial in the offseason.
I'd rather Nurkic goes.
Yeah, we'll see. It could be Nurkic, it could be Simons, it could be both. They might be trying to completely change what they're doing over there. Like it's gonna be a wild offseason in Portland, in my opinion.
Nurkic is way too inconsistent for me. He'll have his great games where he drops 20 and 15 and 8 for 9 shooting, and it's like, holy crap, this guy's great. And the next day he'll go 5 for 50 and have 5 points, 7 rebounds. It's just stupid.
Yeah, that team is setting up to do something insane this offseason, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think that's where we're at on the Blazers.
And what I was getting at with the Powell thing, they traded, or what they got, what they traded to get Powell, Covington, and Nance, Gary Trent, Rodney Hood, Derek Jones Jr., 3 first-round picks. And then what they get from trading Powell, Covington, Nance away, Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a first-round pick.
Ugh. Wow. Horrible.
Really, really bad.
If I'm the Clippers, I love getting Powell.
The worst part about this is they traded Gary Trent Jr. for Keon Johnson, essentially. And they lost a first-round pick in that, too.
Go Blazers! Yeah.
Simons and Trent, as a backcourt if you wanted to move on from Dame and CJ, whatever. Like that would have been amazing. But
yeah, talented for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they definitely needed to make moves. I just don't think they made the right ones.
Yeah, I think they helped out the Clippers and the Jazz a lot.
Of course, we'll see next offseason.
Yep.
But all right, moving on from that, another one of my two teams, the Washington Wizards made some moves. And unlike the Blazers, I actually do really like these moves.
Positive moves, yeah.
I love Montrezl Harrell. I think he's been a great addition for the Wizards this year so far. However, I see what they're doing. They traded him to the Hornets for Vernon Carey and Ish Smith. I'm a Duke fan. I like Vernon Carey a lot. Ish Smith is like his 5th time playing for the Wizards. It's ridiculous. They just keep getting him back and then sending him away. But yeah, what this does, I believe this clears up cap space and just roster space to sort of have Kristaps Porzingis fit.
Yeah,
they traded.
Sorry, go on.
No, you're good. They traded Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans to the Mavericks for Kristaps Porzingis. Dinwiddie started the year off pretty good, and he fell off really hard recently. Davis Bertans has always been the most inconsistent player in the entire freaking league. So I love what they did here. I think Porzingis is a much better fit than those 3 guys they gave up, and we'll see how it plays out for them.
God, let's talk about that for a second, dude. If you're Dallas, like with the Blazers' craziness, I was at least able to understand the method to the madness, kind of. But what if you're Dallas? What are you doing? Like your roster, Luka Doncic is expected to go out there and contend for a title with Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, and who's the other? Jalen Brunson.
Like, and now Dinwiddie and Bertans
and Hardaway.
I'm telling you, bro. This team
bench players.
These are a bunch of like
this team can score
players.
150 and give up 170 in the same night. This is a really weird team.
I don't even. How are they scoring 150? What?
Luka's gonna
score 100?
Luka's gonna score 50 himself, and the other guys will combine for a little bit.
I don't understand. Like Luka just became like a 50% usage player with that roster, with that lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, good for Washington. That's a big ad. Build around Porzingis for a little bit, because Porzingis, I still think he's a good player. I don't get why the Mavericks just gave up on him like that. Like I know he's hurt a lot of the time, but I don't understand why you get rid of him.
He's playing at an all-star caliber level.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they need in Dallas, because without him, it's just Luka and like six-man type players, basically, like Hardaway, Bullock, like Brunson. They're all like 6 men. I mean, maybe not Brunson. Brunson's pretty good, but like Hardaway and Bullock are like the definition of like a 6-man.
I just don't get how you make that trade without following it up with anything. Like, how is that the roster you're going with the rest of the season? I just don't get it.
And they're like 4th in the West right now.
Yeah, they're
one of the better teams in the West.
High up there,
they have a chance, and they blew it.
And even if they hit the buyout market, it's not.
What's the buyout market going to do for them?
If they do anything, if they want to add any type of depth on top of the depth they already have, there had to be something that followed that up, and there wasn't.
I was kind of rambling a bit for the Wizards. So just to sum it up, they gave up Montrezl Harrell, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Davis Bertans. They got Vernon Carey, Ish Smith, and Kristaps Porzingis.
That works.
Just to make that clear.
Yeah, Wizards are trying something different. I don't mind that at all for them. And then I think the only thing we haven't touched on here is the Hornets. I think if you're the Hornets, it makes sense. You get rid of some of your depth, younger pieces, and
Harrell.
Because the Hornets' weakness this season has been production from the center position. Mason Plumlee, he's had some good games here and there, but
Harrell is a good big. I love Harrell a lot, and he's going to help out that team tremendously.
Now, he will not help them become a better defensive team, but he'll help them score even more points than they already do, because they're a horrible defensive team, but they're super fast-paced. And
that's an exciting team.
Yeah, it's a fun team to watch.
I like that team a lot.
Charlotte has had center issues since
forever.
Yeah, like it's been so long since they've had like a good center. Like Harrell's probably the best center they've had in a long time.
Charlotte
for a while.
Charlotte has a lot of my favorite guys from college. Obviously, LaMelo didn't play college. I love him, but he didn't play, U.S. college at least. He played overseas and professional leagues out there. I don't know, but like P.J. Washington, Miles Bridges, Malik Monk. He's out there now, but the old Hornets team, I love them a lot. I'm gonna follow them for the next few years and see where it goes. So I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bandwagon like Mike.
Bandwagon
like Mike.
I'm not a Hornets fan. Mike's a diehard Hornets fan by this point.
But yeah, no, I think trading carry when you still have Nick Richards, obviously, if you want to keep a young center, and I think they're about the same level of talent and future projection, and I guess in my opinion. And then you add that to a really fast team, and you get rid of Ish Smith for like the 20th time. I think Ish Smith, if he gets to play with one more team, he becomes the all-time record leader for most teams played with, which is insane.
I'm gonna look up Ish Smith's stats and see how many times he's played for the Wizards, bro. It's ridiculous.
It's at least like 3 or 4. It's
at least 4. At least 4.
He's a quality backup point guard. I guess that's the kind of player that would get passed around. I mean, it makes sense.
Does. Him and Sato
rated so much though. Yeah.
Him and Tomas Satoransky were both backup guards for the Wizards at one point, and they were both doing their jobs on a consistent daily basis very, very well. Yeah. I loved them as backup guards. And when Wall went down, one of them had to step up, and they did. Every single night they would step up. Obviously, you're not going to play to the level that Wall played to, but they did their job very well.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think something we missed. I wanted to talk about the Players Tribune articles that McCollum and Halliburton wrote, but I forgot. I mean, it's kind of been too long.
I don't even think I saw that.
Yeah, no, it was McCollum. It was interesting just because he was talking about how like he got the call and he was like joking around with Dame and stuff like the night before, and the next morning he gets like the official call. And then Halliburton said that he texted in the players group chat after he was done, like he went to the bathroom and cried, and his girlfriend like checked up on him, whatever. Oh yeah, I'm getting traded. The whole group chat was like, whole players group chat, like all the players were like, no, you're kidding. And he thought he would be, he said something about like if you took a poll in the locker room, who is the most likely to be here for the next decade, and it's gonna be like, everyone's gonna say Tyrese. And he wanted to be there. He had been reaching out to all these like nonprofits and was like making a difference in the community, all that kind of stuff. And then he just gets shipped out, which is sad.
Yeah.
It's not as bad of a move as people think it is as far as trading Halliburton, because he's not like an all-world type player, but like the fact that he was so dedicated to the city and he thought, and all the teammates thought that the team was dedicated to him, and then he gets shipped out. It's pretty sad.
I'm assuming TOT is Toronto for team abbreviation?
No, it's total.
Total.
Oh, what
total for the year?
Toronto should be TOR.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was confused. All right, that makes more sense, actually. All right, so here's Ish Smith's history. Starting in 2010, which was not that long ago, guys. Not that long ago. He has played for the Rockets, Grizzlies, Warriors, Magic again the next year, then the Bucks, the Suns, the Thunder, the Sixers, the Pelicans, the Sixers, Pistons, Wizards, Charlotte Wizards.
Journeyman.
I think that's how many teams is that total?
A lot. And he played in like 3 different teams multiple different times. I don't know. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
At least 10, right? Or like
7,
9.
8, 9. I think it's 10.
Yeah,
that's insane.
One thing I forgot to say about Halliburton. Halliburton is now playing a few hours away from his hometown of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is exciting for him and his family, so they can get to watch Wisconsin, Indiana.
Wisconsin's such a weird state.
You're gonna get some hate from like the one person who lives in Wisconsin who watched this, if there is one.
All right, I say we get into more trades.
yeah. 4-team trade. How about that? The Kings traded Marvin Bagley to the Pistons. The Kings got Dante DiVincenzo, Trey Lyles, and Josh Jackson. The Bucks got Serge Ibaka, and the Clippers got Rodney Hood, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Semi Ojeleye.
That's close.
Semi Ojeleye.
Something like
that. Sure. Yeah. So again, Kings got Bagley, Pistons got DiVincenzo, Lyles, Jackson, Bucks got Ibaka, Clippers got Hood, and Ojeleye. Yeah. Thoughts on this? Oh, this is weird.
I think that the biggest winner of all of this is Marvin Bagley's father. I don't know if y'all have seen his Twitter stuff.
That's the last thing I thought was going to come out of your mouth.
What do you think I was going to say? What do you think I was going to say?
One of the teams.
That's fair. But yeah, no, I think Bagley getting out of Sacramento is cool. Hopefully Detroit can. I think isn't he was a restricted free agent this offseason, I think. He was a 2018 draft class member. But no, I think him getting out of Sacramento is good. I think that the Bucks getting Ibaka is cool, but then again, DiVincenzo is also a good player that they, no longer have. I mean, he missed their entire playoff run last year. I'm not sure when he went down, but that would have been he's a big part of that team. But no, I mean, adding Ibaka is nice just because they've had injuries throughout the center rotation all year with Lopez, who missed a lot of time earlier. Who else did the
Kings got Lyles and Josh Jackson. Kings got Lyles and Josh Jackson along with DiVincenzo. And the Clippers got Hood and Odell.
Clippers add Ronnie Hood.
Bum.
Yes. I don't know about that.
I like what the Kings did here. I don't know. I think it's good for most teams. I think the only team that does not win this is the Clippers.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Clippers had like contract implications or something.
Yeah,
like for getting rid of Serge, and I think it's good for the Bucks too. Like getting Serge is like a little upgrade. They have like a defensive backup center now. I think that's cool. And it's good for Marvin Bagley too. He'll get another chance to prove he's worth anything with the Pistons. Hopefully, he can show off his talent that he wasn't able to do.
I hate when Duke guys get traded because then I got to go buy another jersey for them and waste my money. All right. Yeah, that's just one of those trades where, there's a lot to talk about, but at the end of the day, it's not much of a difference in the league.
We can move on from this.
All right. The Spurs, this one is a little bit bigger. The Spurs traded Derek White to the Celtics for Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford. Derek White's a great fit in Boston. I'll just go ahead and start us with that. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but go ahead and share your thoughts.
Boston's been hot. Boston's won 8 of their last 9 out of their 9 of their
I think
last
it's 10 of their last 11.
Right. I mean, him with Smart and Tatum and Brown and Williams, that defense is crazy. The defense that Boston now has is really good. Richardson's a decent defender, but White's better. And they added, obviously, they threw in a first-round pick as well, which is, I don't know if you said that, but it shouldn't matter that much. They'll be in the 20s for the next. Okay, whatever. I mean, trading Richardson and Langford for Derek White is a big move for Boston. I think.
I agree.
Derek White fits in there so well.
Yeah.
And for the Spurs, they're not really trying to contend. I mean, Derek White, at some point, like last year, they were deciding between White and Murray to keep. Obviously, Murray had to break out, so let's just get rid of White. I mean, and they signed him to a big contract in the last offseason or 2 off seasons ago. It was like 4 for $70 or something like that, 472.
It was bigger than it should be.
Yeah. But I mean, getting back Richardson, who's a fine player, I guess. Langford's not much. Spurs didn't get much better. The Celtics got better.
Yeah, I think Dylan touched on it perfectly. I think if you asked me my main 2 points here, it would have been it makes sense for the Spurs because they split up that backcourt. Obviously, they didn't know which one to keep before, and they're both ball dominant guards, so they got rid of one. Obviously, DeJounte with the breakout, and then Marcus Smart. I never loved him playing 30 minutes at the 1 every night. So I think Derek White can come off the bench and play some on ball for them. It's a good trade for both teams.
Great fit. The Celtics made 2 more trades. They're the final 2 trades on our list to talk about. They traded Dennis Schroeder to the Rockets for Daniel Tice, who was returning to Boston. It's a really weird, random trade, but go ahead and share your thoughts on this.
Weird. I don't know why you're going out and getting Daniel Tice again, but I mean, Schroeder ended up not being a fit. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
I don't know why the Rockets want Schroeder. I guess they think he could be something, even though they literally are currently not letting John Wall play basketball because they want to develop Kevin Porter Jr., but then they go get a 1.
I feel like
much cheaper.
Go ahead.
You got to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird trade. I don't know.
I feel like I understand the Celtics part a lot more because they got a lot of guards, a lot of young guards too on the bench.
They just don't need those guys.
I understand getting a big. I don't understand why you chose Daniel Tice.
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That package got them something better, but
Rockets doesn't make much sense, like you said. They're not letting their good guard play right now, and they're trying to develop other young guards and forwards, and they go and trade for Dennis Schroeder. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird trade.
Agreed.
All right. Final trade, another Celtics one. Last but certainly not least, they traded for Bol Bol. Or they traded Bol Bol to the Orlando Magic. Everyone loves Bol Bol. Let's just go ahead and talk about him.
Good for Bol Bol. He needs to get to play. He could be nobody knows. He could be a generational talent. He could be changing the face of the NBA. Like you don't know. He could be incredible, and he's never gotten a chance. So we'll see what the Magic do with him.
Is Taco Fall still in Boston?
I have no idea.
Because if they have both of those guys and play him, that is so annoying. You have to put Taco Fall and Bobo in the same lineup, bro.
Yeah,
that'd be so fun. It's a really weird trade.
It's kind of weird though, because I don't know why it's the Magic of all teams, because I kind of like their front court. Like they have Wendell Carter. They basically already roll out a 2-center lineup with Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba. So I don't know why it's them that's specifically going out and doing this, but it should still be a chance for Bobo to show he could play. So
Wendell Carter Jr. is a very underrated player.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Good. He's really good.
Out of Duke. That
I don't think it comes to Duke. I honestly forgot about him like heading into this year, and he reminded me of who he was. Yeah, he's a great player. But all right, any other thoughts on any of these trades before we have to wrap it up?
No, good.
The All-Star game is tonight as of we're recording this.
It'll probably be uploaded the day after tomorrow. Yeah, obviously. So tomorrow.
On Monday.
Monday.
I mean, we have. Oh god. Okay, so talking about last night, skills challenge. What the hell was that? I didn't watch it, but like I don't know what that was. Confusing.
Dylan, we have 2 minutes, by the way, just so you know.
I'm aware.
Okay.
The 3-point contest was fun. Cat's got a burner. I don't know what happened the last round.
I don't know how he won that.
Steph Curry.
That is nuts, bro. That is nuts.
So random.
It was so weird.
I was like,
got hot.
I was like, why the hell are they putting Towns in 3-point contests? Like, I guess it's cool if a center wins it, but why? And he won.
And then dunk contest, they keep getting
worse.
Need to
change it.
They need a dunk contest has been like a thing for a while, but like really, if they want to make some kind of like exciting thing for the All-Star weekend, get a king of the court like one-on-one type thing between all the All-Stars or like all the All-Stars who want to participate. That would be fun.
All the dunk contest is just like young guys trying to put their names on the map, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, because
it's not actually the best dunkers.
There's no entertainment value because people like Jordan and like Dominique used to compete, and even like Jason Richardson, who was a good player. He was in the, he won it back-to-back years. Nate Robinson was like a fan favorite and a good player. And obviously, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. And then since 2016, it's gone downhill.
But when Gordon and LaVine were in it, they weren't the stars they are. Or like they were young guys trying to put a name on the map, and they did it.
At least it worked out for them, but it hasn't worked out for anyone else.
And Giannis was actually in the dunk contest before anyone really knew him. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I mean, like even last year was what Cash Stanley, Anthony Simons. I know, Cash Stanley, Anthony Simons. Like it wasn't.
We got a minute and a half.
All right, you're good. Go ahead.
Stanley, Simons, and whoever else was in it last year. I mean, this year it was JTA and Cole Anthony, Green, and Obi Toppin. Obviously, Jalen Green is the best dunker on.
And it took him 10 minutes to land one dunk.
And Cole Anthony decided to dunk Tim's on because he thought that was fun.
That was funny.
That was weird.
It's so annoying. This generation of players, they're putting on their own highlights on their chain and they're handing it to all those judges. It's stupid. It's just
you sound like an old head right now, but I agree.
Yeah, but just dunk the ball. Like nobody's here to watch your own highlights.
And Obi Toppin actually, for as bad as the dunk contest was, he actually had some nice dunks, and that's why he won. Because if he didn't win, then if he didn't do any of those types of dunks, it would have been. He still is the worst of all time, I think, but he salvaged it a little bit. But
all right, that is it for episode 31. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you next week with a new episode. Peace.